So I've already picked today's card, and it is, oh. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Just another struggling writer. The Beleaguered Author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. Well, for today's video, I am bringing back my tarot card book recommendations. If you missed the first entry in this series, basically what I am doing is I am trying to match up a book recommendation with each card in a standard tarot deck. And this is very much amateur level matching of books to cards because I don't consider myself an expert in tarot at all. I've sort of been self-teaching myself over the last couple of years. I don't do readings and I still have a lot to learn. So I absolutely understand if people do not agree with my particular interpretations of the cards. That's the great thing about tarot. It can be very, very personal and everyone gets something different out of it. This is just a fun little project for me to learn more about the cards themselves and match concepts to books and vice versa. So as I mentioned in my first entry in this series, I am not using a standard Rider-Waite tarot deck. I am using my Ethereal Visions deck. The art is done by Matt Hughes. I highly recommend checking it out. I will have the link below if you're interested in picking one up for yourself. And again, as a reminder, I am not doing these recommendations in order of the deck. I'm just going to do it by random draw. And part of the reason for that is I think it makes it a little bit more fun and random if I just do a draw rather than going in order. And I think that makes it a little bit easier on me to try and match books to cards if we are doing it completely random. So I've already picked today's card, and it is the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is most closely associated with the concept of abundance. The suit of Pentacles itself is, of course, associated with wealth, but not always wealth of money. The queens of all four suits tend to represent strong female figures. The suit of Pentacles represents the element of earth, and when asking a yes or no question, the Queen of Pentacles is a yes card. Other keywords associated with the Queen of Pentacles are a motherly or nurturing figure in your life, safety and security, luxury, financial comfort, and hard work paying off. And the first book that stuck out to me when I was considering the Queen of Pentacles was The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. The Mask of Mirrors is an epic fantasy about a woman named Ren who is desperately trying to con her way into a noble family. In reality, she is just another street rat who spent part of her childhood in a little cluster of thieves run by a motherly sort of figure who wasn't all that motherly. And at the beginning of the story, we see Ren break free of this woman's hold and run away with her sister to try and make a better life for themselves. And they have determined that that better life must come at the hands of a noble family. And they have devised a con to try and establish themselves amongst the nobility. However, there are other forces at play in the city. A magical plague is slowly picking off the poorest children, drawing the attention of a captain of the guard, who is already suspicious of Ren within their first meeting. There's also a crime lord who is trying to worm his way into legitimate business as well, who knows more than he is letting on about the magic permeating the city. This is a novel of political intrigue, magic, and the bonds of family and what it is like to desire wealth above everything else. I thought of this book for the Queen of Pentacles partially because the matriarch of the noble family that Ren is trying to get into, while not terribly wealthy anymore, is doing her best to maintain what her family has left. And while she is suspicious of Ren at the start, she eventually welcomes Ren with open arms into her family. She has experienced terrible tragedy, and yet she still is doing everything she can to keep her family together. But I also thought of Ren a little bit as the Queen of Pentacles. Yes, she is desperately trying to do anything she can to secure financial security for her and her sister, even if it's through less than ideal means. But it is that bond with her sister that I found most compelling. I was worried throughout the book that the two of them were going to experience some sort of schism and that their relationship would break down. And I was very pleased when I got to the end of the book when that didn't occur. Their bond stayed strong throughout the story. Even when Ren failed, she and her sister remained a tight unit in agreement with everything they were doing. Part of the reason for that is because Ren is so loving and protective and giving of herself to her sister. It's not just for her own sake that she is running this con. She wants to secure safety for her sister as well. And they truly do rely on each other. They could not do it one without the other. But also throughout the book, Ren is exposed to obscene luxury that she pretends to have for herself as part of her con, but desperately wants. She sees firsthand the waste that goes on behind the scenes, and yet she's still trying to get into that. Because of her upbringing, she has known what it is to want, and so she is doing everything she can to eliminate that want from creeping back into her life. She's extremely calculating about every interaction she takes with every person she meets. It isn't often that she trips up, and when she does, she usually is able to cover her tracks. She is truly a chameleon, taking on different personas as she moves throughout the city to better feed her con. And even when the worst happens, she does what she can to rally around not just her sister, but this family she has grown close to as well. So while on the surface it might seem that Ren only cares about herself, only cares about money, she truly is a very nurturing figure who ultimately wants to protect the most vulnerable of the city. This is a great story about political intrigue, the bonds of female friendship, and strong women who have to navigate situations that weren't necessarily meant for them. This setting is also queer normative, which is a great bonus, and has a really intriguing magical system featuring runes and like hex circles in order to work enchantments. It's also extremely long, so enter at your own risk, but that wasn't necessarily a problem for me. It felt like a problem at the time that I read it because I was trying to get through it really quickly, and it just felt so dense that I couldn't. But when I look back on my experience, I'm glad that everything was packed into it. Also, funnily enough, there is a custom tarot-like card deck and system used for reading fortunes and divination. So that was a really interesting facet of the story as well. It is a trilogy, and the other two books are almost as long as the first one, and that I haven't gotten to yet, but I do highly recommend The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. And that wraps up this book recommendation. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my content and want to support the channel, please like and subscribe. I would so appreciate it. In my next video, I have a getting my life together vlog for you. I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then. Bye.